Hi everyone, it's me Ace here once again with another review, and this is on Nier Replicant, the prequel to Nier Automata. Now, as this is the prequel, I was very intrigued to find out what happened before the events of Automata, and once again, like the story in Automata, it's absolutely fucking incredible. We take control of Nier, who is trying to save his younger sister Yona from a terrible fate. The story is divided into two parts. The first half we play as young Nier, and the second half we play as Nier when he is a bit older. During the first half, we are taking on multiple jobs and tasks to earn money while Devola and Popola look for a way to help Yona. Now, this is very mediocre, but we do get a lot of introductions very early on, so we see Nier forging new friendships with several people. We meet Grimoire Weiss, the main travelling companion, Kaane, who is very hot-headed and very entertaining, and Emil, who has been through a lot in his past. Now, I can't mention anything further about these characters due to spoilers, but they are great. After certain events have happened at the end of part 1, we carry on 5 years later in part 2, where Nier has now aged and has learned more about what he needs to do. With his goal being to rescue his sister Yona, we are now tasked with hunting down key fragments to unlock where to go next. This means more walking or boat riding to multiple areas to complete the objectives. Sadly, the key fragments aren't locked behind anything interesting but just shitty boss fights. After all of these have been collected, we can move on to the final area of the game and set off to finish what was started, and we must go through a barrage of enemies and ultimately kill the final boss to save Yona. Now, that's the main story in a nutshell, and of course other things do happen in between, but I found there wasn't a lot to talk about here because almost everything I would normally talk about is practically a spoiler, and I want to avoid those as much as possible. I'm fairly certain in saying that this will be the shortest story section of a game that I review. At least I hope so anyway. Story, I rate a 7 out of 10. Now, shades are the main enemy of this game and are really well done. I know in a lot of games I say I don't like the enemy design, but here it is different. There is a nice variety of different shades, attacks are decent, not too hard but easy enough to figure out how to kill. They look very mysterious and intriguing, and the best thing is that they have good changes depending on the section of the game you're in. One thing they lack though is any form of real challenge. Even on the hard difficulty you won't have many issues just decimating the everlasting fuck out of them. There are other enemies such as scorpions and wolves, but they only become relevant unless you need their item drops. Enemies will also give you words when you kill some of them that you can put onto your weapons or magic to give them more power and new abilities. The maps are the strangest thing I've ever encountered in a game. Unlike any other game, you pause or press whatever button to view the map. Not in this though. Oh no, it wasn't enough just to look at the maps. You either have to find them or buy the fucking things from vendors just to see them. This is just to see the area of the game you're in. What the bloody hell were they thinking of when they decided this? Why is something as simple as a fucking map locked behind some illogical bullfuck maneuver? The worst part is you don't even need to buy them. The areas are so small and they are probably the length of a pubic hair, they make it easy enough to memorise. This makes putting the maps behind a vendor or finding them even more fucking redundant. The general areas you can visit are fine, and I think they did a good job of making some very interesting places. However, as they are mainly open field areas, it leaves a lot to be desired. There aren't really any puzzles as such, except for a couple of places, and they are incredibly easy and very boring to figure out. Another thing you can find in the open world are weapons which are inside breakable boxes. While the weapons are great, the physical side of combat gets pushed to the wayside quite a lot in favour of the magic combat style. I find this very intriguing but pointless as it's just way too cheap, unless the enemies are unaffected by magic attacks. I found that if there is an enemy that you have trouble with, just keep your distance and launch Dark Blast or Dark Lance at it. I also think that magic is a high priority because the devs realised that farming for upgrade materials that the weapons need will make us blow our brains out with a 50 caliber sniper rifle. I also have serious questions about the upgrade materials that are needed. One such example is the Phoenix Spear. Why the fucking hell do I need a fucking eagle egg to upgrade a fucking spear? Along with that bullshit, too many side quests have you going to multiple locations to either gather materials or track down people, and it gets insanely fucking annoying very quickly. In fact, I was doing a quest when this line came up. This was perfect timing. The Ballad of the Twins quest is another example. You have to go to the library, then to Seafront, then to the Northern Plains, then back to Seafront, then back to the library, and then to the village tavern. Why is this a fucking quest? I want to be killing shades, not collecting mouse and lizard tails to make some fucked up concoction of a drink. I don't mind this quest, but when it is almost every one, it gets really dumb just running around to go to the same locations just to be told to go somewhere else again. The Recycled World is one of the few places that I actually enjoyed the gameplay the most, aside from a few boss fights. It has a great challenge and the changes in gameplay style are fine, but it has one major flaw. The colour choices and style in some sections made me want to fucking vomit. Literally. I don't know if it was an error or not, but how did this make it in the game? Whichever Pillock decided that this was a good idea for the game requires urgent help. This is also the only place that has a smooth transition from one style to another, and unlike Automata, this barely has any different styles of gameplay at all. Here it's either the standard gameplay, side-scrolling or dungeon crawling. Also, the music in this game wasn't that good either. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad music score, as this is an updated version. That said, it doesn't make it any better. However, one feature on this game does improve it. You can change the soundtrack to the Nier Automata soundtrack after clearing Route A. And if you've seen my Automata review, you'll know that I fucking love that soundtrack. Some of the best parts in this game were the interactions between Kane and Weiss. They have such good comedy moments that I was always awaiting what they would say to each other in the game or throughout the cutscenes. Also, I don't get why you can't skip the end credits. If you get all the endings, and that's 5 times, that means you have to watch the credits 5 times. What a total waste of fucking time. Gameplay, 3 out of 10. So much should have been good with this gameplay, but it was just a disaster. If it wasn't for the story, I'd have probably avoided this game altogether. Price-wise, I'd say it's worth about £5, and that's just the value of the story. No other reason to play this game whatsoever, or even buy it. Now, things that could have been fixed, or need to be fixed and improved. This is possibly the only time I'll mention this, but fuck the cover art on the case for this game. Very specific, I know, but it contains a major spoiler. If anyone has played Nier Automata, you will know who Emil is. Not knowing what he looked like should have been a fantastic reveal. Too bad they ruined it by showing what he looks like on the fucking cover art. I don't think Square Enix realised that this is a reboot of the prequel, that more people will have played Automata first. Second, fix the fucking RNG so some of the harder to obtain items become a bit more easier to get. I've got over 60 hours on my main save, and I've never had a forlorn necklace drop. Fuck that, or to quote Kanye, I'm going to rip out your eyeballs and piss in the sockets. The camera angles need some improvement, and as the fighting takes place in linear areas, I found that the camera would sometimes get stuck in a weird position and I would take damage as I couldn't see the enemy projectiles. Also, the lock-on system needs some tweaks as well, as when you use it to target a specific enemy, it will sometimes not go for the targeted enemy. Make Route E fucking longer and let me play as Kane more. She is so much fun to play, but as Route E is hardly more than 10 minutes, and that's not including cutscenes, why limit the best fighter to such a small amount of playable time? Plus, I was very disappointed I never even got the chance to play as Emil. He is just restricted to an NPC, but I really want to play him just for the experience. Anyway, that's enough of my rambling, and that's the end of the review. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.